so there's not a lot of feedback noise, so it's easier for everyone to hear the information being provided. We're going to give it just a second for people to get connected to audio. If you can, in the meantime, please put your full name in the chat. That way we can make sure that we have you counted for attendance. So you don't get a bunch of emails after this meeting asking if you were here. So go ahead and do that for me in the chat. And we are really looking forward to getting to speak with you for a little bit today. We'll try to keep it brief and to the point, but we'll stay on if you guys have questions after this session. Okay, looking around. It looks like everyone is connected to audio. If other people join in afterwards, we'll just be sure to add them and fill them in as we go. As you guys may or may not know, my name is Kiana Boglin. I am the AmeriCorps VISTA project supervisor for the UAB VISTA program, and that does include our lovely summer associates. Essentially what I do is I help coordinate the grant, getting placements done, applications, and any questions that you might have regarding to AmeriCorps VISTA and the UAB program in particular. We also have two of our other program staff on the call, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Kiara Jackson. I serve as the Black Belt VISTA supervisor for the Black Belt. So I know you probably got a whole bunch of emails and text messages from me, but I will be the one that you will get in contact with the Black Belt if you have any questions concerning your living allowance, AmeriCorps related questions in general, or questions about your timesheets and VISTA reports. And I will give it over to Georgia.
Hello, like she said, my name is Georgia Ellard. I serve as the UAB AmeriCorps VISTA Food Security Program Coordinator. So if you're working with a site dealing with food security, I'll be your person. And other than that, I'm excited for you guys to start your summer.
Beautiful, beautiful. I won't do a long round of introductions, but I know we have several sites here and several programs that are going to be doing great work for this 10 weeks of service. What I will do is jump right into the details of what we're here for, which is the OnCorps timesheets and VISTA report training. So as you guys know, or I should have been informed, the AmeriCorps Summer Associate Program is a full-time commitment. So you guys should be serving 35 to 40 hours each week. And that is tracked on our OnCorps timesheets that you guys should have received your login information this week. If you did not receive that information, please reach out to Georgia or myself so we can resend you that information. That way you can get into the system without any issues. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen. That way I can show you what that program looks like. If I can get a head nod, if everybody can see what I see, beautiful. Okay, so this is the first page of your OnCorps reports. So to access your OnCorps timesheets and VISTA reports, you should have received the link, but simply you can put uabvista.oncorreports.com and it will take you to this homepage. So when you log in, you should see the 2021-22 program year, and that will get you into the correct year for your service. And you will log in under AmeriCorps member. And then you would enter your username and password. This is our test account, so give me a second. And of course, I put the wrong password in because it's been so long. Well, give me a second to fix that. Every time I do it wrong. But in the meantime, in between time, so on your timesheets and VISTA reports, you'll put all the activities that you have listed on throughout the week. So whether that's if you're doing deliveries for food distribution, working with youth, outreach and engagement, anything like that, you would put that on your timesheet. Georgia, would you mind taking it away for just a second while I pull up the username and password and not share it with everybody?
Sure, let's see what we can say. I don't know. What do you want me to say? Sorry, I'm not good on the spot.
Sorry, if you could pull up the OnCorps categories and yes, that will work and we can start going through those pieces. because apparently my brain is not working for our password.
Let me share my screen. Okay, so to access the OnCorps categories, you can go to our website. I'm pretty sure you all have access to this already, but if not, you can just Google UAB AmeriCorps VISTA and it'll pop up. And then you will go over to our current members tab right here. From there, you'll scroll down and you can find your summer orientation manual, but you can also find the OnCorps categories. So when you're filling out your timesheet, you're asked to kind of categorize what you are working on. And this is a good resource to do that. It's pretty self-explanatory. We can go over some of the ones that you'll do often, which is direct service. So like Kiana was saying, going out and distributing food, doing anything like physical labor kind of thing, that's going to be direct service. For the in-service training or on-site orientation, so in-service training will be this, on-site orientation will be what you guys do probably either a couple of days ago or continuing this week. If you do any type of professional development, any type of webinars or anything like that, you can add it for there. Let's see, if you're, again, with volunteering or managing volunteers or managing any type of recruitment, you can do that. Kiana, have you found that already?
It's not working, of course, when I try to do it for people. I just used it and logged in, but now it's like, nope.
Do ours look different? Like if I log into mine?
It should be I'm using the test one, so the UAB VISTA member portal. And for whatever reason, it's not letting me be great today. But what we can do is we can pull up the general one and I'll just use that moving forward. It'll just look a little different, but I was trying to be helpful to make sure it looks exactly what they see. But nonetheless, I will pull up the generic one that I have. So sorry, guys. And of course, my computer takes the time now. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen. So when you open up your timesheet, it will not look like this, unfortunately. What you will do is you will go to reporting and you will, or time tracking, and you will enter your timesheets that way. You will pull it down and it should have an option that says timesheets for the week that you are serving. And then you will enter your information, but I can show you what that timesheet will look like. So sorry about that. So for example, this one starts at November 15th, which is not obviously your start week. What you will do is you will go through the categories and figure out which one makes the most sense for the activity that you participated in. And you can have multiple categories for each day. So if you do some community outreach, some volunteer management, and some direct service all in the same day, you would just put those on different lines. For example, if you did community outreach for the activity and say this is your site, Bama Kids, and you can say social media post. And then for the total hours, you would list how much time you spent doing that activity. So that can be, please use full or half hours. So either if you did for an hour, you would put 1. If you did for a half hour, you would put 0.5. Please don't go anything less than that. It gets a little complicated. So please stick to the half hour increments. For any other activities, you would put like volunteer recruitment. Again, we'll go with Bama Kids because you will be at the same site more likely than not. And you would say tabling event, if that was what you did. So it can be a very short description in the description box, but please make sure that you do have one. Be at the end of once you complete all of your categories and all your descriptions, it should total up to usually around 8 hours for each day. But when you fill it out for the whole week, it will total to 40 hours, which is in the bottom section here. It'll total to a total of 40 hours towards your service. For any days that you happen to be sick or unavailable, or that your site is closed, you will go to the time off section and put sick leave. And then for this, they give you lots of error messages if you don't put in the hours. So make sure you do that. So if you do sick leave, you don't have to tell me why you were sick, just put in sick leave. And if you were gone for the whole day, you would put 8 because 8 hours equals a full day of service. If you were gone for half a day, again, you would just put 5, or 0.5 rather. And at the bottom, at the bottom of your page, you'll hit an option that says submit. If you have more than one supervisor at your site, we'll ask you to click the supervisor that will be approving your timesheets. And they make sure that you get it to the correct one. If you're not sure who that person is, or if you're supposed to be sending it to both supervisors, please ask them, and they should be able to let you know pretty quickly if that's the correct information or that's the correct supervisor you should be putting on. Next, if no one has any questions about that, after that, you put all your information up. It adds up to 35 to 40 hours. You hit submit, you send it to your supervisors, and they will review it and make sure the information is accurate. If they have any concerns or questions, they can reject your timesheet so that you can re-edit it. If one of the program staff sees something wrong with your timesheet, they can also unlock it so that you can make edits. Sometimes people submit things too early or on accident. So if that happens, please reach out to your program staff as well, and we can unlock that timesheet. That way you can make the necessary edits for your timesheet. So this is a general what your timesheet will look like. You'll fill in all the days that you worked. If you did not work that day, you can just leave it blank if it was not a sick day, if that makes sense. So if you use, if it was not a sick day or a federal holiday, if it was a federal holiday, please use the time off category and put national holiday, and just put that your site was closed in the description. That way we know why the reason that your hours aren't adding up to the 35 or 40. That way we don't unlock your timesheets unnecessarily. So after you submit your timesheet on Mondays, you also submit a VISTA report, which is a different type of report. It has similar information, but it tracks different data. So you will go onto your reporting tab, and you will go to submit reports. On mine, it says view because I am the program director. And you will go to, where am I at? VISTA report, I'm sorry, can't see. OnCorps can be a little bit slower, so the best browsers to use, I do believe, are Firefox and Google Chrome if you have it available. I am going to go ahead and show you what a previous member's timesheet looks like, or VISTA report looks like, I'm sorry. So in yours, it will say complete or submit, and once it loads.
Hey, Kiana, Kiara said that she was able to log in with the username and password. I just sent you the direct message. I'm not sure if it was the same one you're trying. If you want to try, or if you just want to keep going.
Yes, I will do that. That makes things easier. I will go ahead and stop sharing so you guys cannot look at the unnecessary information. Again, sorry for the technical glitches, but we will get it worked out. Okay, beautiful. I am tapped in. You would think because I made this password, I will remember it better. I am going to go ahead and share my screen again. So, redo. This is what your page will look like when you pull up your OnCorps and you get all signed in under your member, AmeriCorps member. Do not let your homepage look like this. This means you did not submit your timesheet and that you're missing information. So if you ever do miss a timesheet, or you, for whatever reason, it's not submitted, you'll get a notice to your email as well as to OnCorps saying, hey, please submit this timesheet and your VISTA report for this week. So under time tracking, you can enter timesheets. So you'll see exactly what it looks like on your end. And you will select the period. So whatever week that is, you'll hit choose. And like I said, it'll look the same as far as the information you placed. So it'll automatically populate your service site, and you would again pick the category that your activity falls under. And if you have any questions about what category it falls under, please refer back to that spreadsheet, or not the spreadsheet, that photograph that Georgia showed you just a moment ago. And we'll put your description here along with the total hours. And once you complete it, It'll show you your total hours here at the bottom. If you have any general comments that you need to submit to your supervisor or to program staff, you will put those here. Otherwise, you can hit authorize and submit, and it will submit to your direct supervisor if you only have one. If there is more than one supervisor at your site, there will be the two names there, and then you click on the supervisor that's supposed to be approving your timesheet. You can also work on your timesheet in advance of the due date and hit save. That way you do not have to do it all at one time. So if you are working on your timesheet at the end of a day or a couple of days and you want to enter that information so you don't forget, you can go in there, you can enter the information and hit save. And then when you go back to complete your timesheet, all that data will still be in there. So for reporting, it's a lot easier now, you see, because you'll hit reporting and you hit submit reports, and it'll have VISTA reporting here. Again, give it just a second. Mine is obviously backdated because this is a test account, so please do not let your account look like this. You will hit update on the week that you're serving. OnCorps does take its time. Sometimes I do apologize. I understand that it works better on a computer device rather than a mobile device. You can do it on a mobile device, but it might take a little bit longer to submit your timesheets and VISTA reports. Just a heads up, if you're trying to work on your reports that way. So for the VISTA report, it looks similar as far as the data that it's collecting, but the numbers are different. So there's a qualitative section as well as a quantitative section. So the qualitative section is here and the quantitative section is here. So this is the information that AmeriCorps wants us to track. So how many volunteers did you recruit during that week? How many volunteers did you manage during that week? So on and so forth. Some of the sections that do get a bit confusing are the sites portions that say training. So if it ever says training on that line item, it's how much time do you spend learning about that activity? How much time do you spend learning about orientation and training? How much time do you spend learning about community outreach? How much time do you spend learning about effective volunteer management? So that can be a webinar, part of your orientation, any professional development activities you do on your own to learn about these things. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward, and you just have to enter the number in those sections. Now, granted, we do not expect you to have all of these things, everything filled out for every line, because not everybody works in those areas. So just put a 0 in that area if it does not apply to you. And then you'll move on to the qualitative section. So this is an impact story. This just gives us a real brief description of what you worked on that week. So, hey, I managed volunteers and it was really impactful. Why? Or if you have a success story that you want to share, you can put that there. It does not have to be extremely long. Like it says, 2 to 4 sentences at the most. We're not looking for a dissertation, but we do want to make sure you're thinking back and reflecting on what you did during that week of service, because it all matters. You can also put any challenges that you're having at your site or that you've encountered during that week of service, whether that be technical issues with AmeriCorps portal or things that you need help with at your site or information that you don't have access to. You would put that there, and your supervisor can see that in real time and address that with you if you haven't been able to talk to him directly about it. Same thing with the other sections. If you have any partnerships or collaborations you worked on that week, if you did any resource development, any sustainability activities. Sustainability meaning how are you essentially working yourself out of a job? How are we making sure that the work that we are doing can be sustained after your term of service is over? And then technical assistance, if you need any training or assistance with any technological details at your site or with the UAB program, please let us know. And then there's also a section for any attachments or links or photos that you want to share about your service. So if you did a flyer or there was an event that you wanted to share with us, you can put it there and we'll be able to see that as well. But yeah, once you get the hang of this activity, the first time it may take a little while to get them all completed, but I promise you, once you get a hang of it, it takes about 30 minutes to an hour at the most of getting this information completed once a week. And you will get a reminder notice from OnCorps so you don't forget. But other than that, I know Georgia already went to the current members section about the resources. So all your resources are here. So your orientation manual is a little bit different, which you should have already seen, and that's there. We will also have information about the chain of command, which I think is also really important to talk about during this session. So if you have questions about your activities that you should participate in at your site, or if you're not sure what you should be doing that week, you should be reaching out to your direct supervisor at your site because they would have the best information. If for whatever reason they are not able to answer your questions or anything like that, At this time, we do not have a VISTA leader. You will reach out directly to your project supervisor, whether that's Kiera or Georgia, depending on what area you're serving in. If it's not food security or in the Black Belt, it will come directly to me because I hadn't handled everything in between. It will reach out to us and ask any questions that you might have. And for whatever reason that me, Kiera, or Georgia are not able to answer that question for you, we will escalate it to our program director. And if they are not able to answer it for any reason, I will pass it on to my AmeriCorps representative to get that question answered for you. But 9 times out of 10, we were able to resolve issues right here in this direct supervisor section. So please, if you have any questions, please be direct and ask them out early and often. If you have questions or unsure about things at your site, they will be the best ones to ask that information. Other than that, there's several other resources here available to you. Feel free to check them out at your own time. I think that's all I think I needed to share from the website. Kiera or Georgia, I know I went through that pretty fast. Is there anything that you needed me to touch on more specifically?
I don't think so. Do they do mileage reimbursements or anything?
Yes, thank you. I knew I was forgetting something. So you guys have the ability to submit mileage reimbursements for your off-site service activities. It does not cover your commute to and from your service site. So for example, if you guys have a fundraising event or an off-site conference that you guys are attending as part of your service, we can reimburse you for that mileage to and from that activity. We do ask that you use a start point as your service site rather than your home location, because you would be in AmeriCorps guidelines to do that. And I will pull up, I'll share my screen again. I will pull up what that will look like for you guys. It should have also been in your orientation manual, but I will pull it up just in case. Essentially, to submit a mileage reimbursement, all you would do is fill out this template at the back. At the back of your orientation manual, what you would do is you put your name and the date of travel and the total amount of miles that you travel. So that's to and from your location. So if it's 10 miles to and 2 miles back, your total miles would be 20. And on that first section, you will put a short paragraph about the purpose of your trip. So you would say, hey, I attended a volunteer event or a volunteer recruitment event on such and such date to get volunteers for such and such activity. And like I said, your start location. So location 1 would be your service site. And then start location would be your service site, and location 1 would be to whatever event. So if that's the local church or conference site, you put that as your location. And we do need the full addresses for each of those. And then here you would put the total miles from your location to your event site. So from Bama Kids to the county building. We need those addresses and the miles that it takes to get from one place to the other. After that, you will put a screenshot, a Google Map screenshot, or if you're using your phone, a phone screenshot that includes the addresses of that trip. That way we can have it documented with AmeriCorps and UAB. And that way we will just, once you have the information ready, you can send it directly to me. If for whatever reason I am not in the office, you can send it to Georgia or Kiera, and they will also work on getting it submitted for you. But normally you will send it to me and I will get that submitted to HR at UAB, because UAB will be the ones paying out your direct deposit for your mileage. All your other payments will come directly from AmeriCorps. So your living allowance will come directly from AmeriCorps, and your benefits as far as your end-of-service benefit and your education award, those will also come directly from AmeriCorps. So if you have any issues with those pieces, do let me know, but AmeriCorps will be the ones to have to address that issue and resolve it for you. I do believe I also have a completed a completed mileage reimbursement for you all to see. Here we go. So when you send your mileage reimbursement to us, it should look something like this. So not real basic, you just put VISTA, your name obviously, date of travel, how many miles total. Like I said, if it's 10 miles to and 10 miles back, it'll be 20 miles total. So your start location, so the address, and then the location where you went to. For them, it was the Downsville Correctional Facility, and that's 28 miles one way. And they put the Google Maps here so that we can see the address, the total miles. And then you also put your return location. So you return from the Downsville Correctional Facility, in this case, back to your host site. And then they would put another screenshot showing the mileage for that. So once you have that done, you send it back to me and I get it submitted to AmeriCorps, that's AmeriCorps to UAB. That way we can get you paid. You guys will be paid on the same UAB biweekly schedule for your mileage reimbursements. If there's ever any issues with your mileage reimbursements, I will let you know as soon as I can. And that way we can get that paid back out to you. We do use the same rate, federal rate as AmeriCorps and federal officials. So it's, I want to say 58.5 cents to the mile that you receive per mile that you drive to and from. But yeah, that's all I have for mileage reimbursements. Full disclosure, I do work from home with a small human, so yes, who you hear in the background. But any other updates, we do have a monthly statewide meeting that we ask all of our members to participate in. It's from 11 to 12, usually on the first or second Tuesday for the month. It has all of our professional development activities, updates about the AmeriCorps program, and things of that nature. And it's a place for you guys to connect with all of your other VISTA members that you'll be serving with, since we are a pretty large cohort. I know I went through that pretty quickly. Is there any questions that you guys have about either the timesheets or VISTA reports, mileage reimbursements, general requirements as far as your AmeriCorps service with our program, or things about the swearing-in service that you didn't quite catch yesterday? Feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Will this already be sent by your email? So yes, this has been recorded, so we will send this out afterwards once it has been saved, so you guys will have access to this as well. If you ever have any issues with OnCorps or any of the AmeriCorps things, please feel free to reach out to that. Should we mention flex time? So flex time is something that some sites provide. So if for any reason that you guys work over or under the 35 to 40 hours a week for a certain week, please reach out to your supervisor and say, hey, is it possible for me to work more hours next week or less hours this week if you have an overage or underserved for that week? But you will need to talk to your supervisor before working over or under the required hours. If you take sick time, that does not count towards your overage or being under your hours. That way you don't have to like try to make up that sick day, if that makes sense. Any personal leave or anything like that, you guys are not necessarily eligible for because of the short-term service. So if you take a personal day, you would have to make up that time. That's one more thing in the chat. So if you come in on Saturdays, sometimes you can still just put it in the day that you serve. I know everybody's hours are a little bit different. So if you work on a Saturday or a Sunday, you would just put the same information on whatever day you serve. So it'd be the same categories. They have the full week available to you. So any days that you don't serve regularly, you don't have to fill in that information. But if it's a normal day that you will be working, then you would. Does that answer your question? Beautiful. Again, I know I went through that pretty quickly. If you haven't done so already, please put your name in the chat. That way we make sure that we have all of the attendees on our record. We want to make sure that everybody has information. And if you ever have questions about your OnCorps timesheets or VISTA reports, please let us know. And we're still able to help you after this. But we want to just make sure you have the general information before you submit your first timesheet on Monday. Any other questions about AmeriCorps timesheets? Any other requirements that we have?
Yes, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the flex time, for example, officially we do not start the program on my site until June the 6th, but I know I'm required to start logging hours this week. Mm-hmm. Does that mean I have to still try to match 35 to 40 hours this week? Because I'm doing like off-site training, computer mm-hmm. training, stuff like that, that can count, but I don't think I'll hit 35 or 40 hours just doing training.
Okay, so what you would do is you would talk to your site supervisor about, the other requirements or the activities that you could be doing during that week. And if you have any issues with that, please let one of your program staff know, Georgia will be your first point of contact about making sure you meet those hours for our food security initiatives. But you should be having other training, onboarding, any other professional development activities that you're doing. You can also assist with the general operations of Grace Klein if you would like, as part of your service to make up those hours. Because I know they do a lot of food distribution and have a lot of things going on at their site in general. So you can ask your supervisor about being involved in those activities as well to make up some of those hours that you're working on since your exact program doesn't start till the next week.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, Daniela, what I was going to suggest and what I would suggest to anybody is if you're doing a lot of training this week, go ahead and just say, hey, dear supervisor, can I come and just be a regular volunteer and just, get the ins and outs of the organization and meet everybody. It's a good opportunity to do that, but not be overwhelmed with, oh, now I have VISTA. So I think it's a good way to do that.
Thanks, Georgia. Hold on, I see something else in the chat. So I was given add up to 31 hours a week. Do I need to find 4 more hours? 35 hours is the hard number. It is an AmeriCorps requirement that we have to abide by to stay in compliance with the program. Honestly, I imagine that you'll probably find those 4 hours quickly within your service, especially I do believe you're at Blazer Kitchen. I'm sure that you'll find the time to complete those activities, whether that be the direct service that you're doing with the delivery, stocking, things of that nature, as well as any online activities that you're doing for the program with, if they're asking you to do like social media outreach, if you're meeting with volunteers, things of that nature, they can all count towards your hours. And your site is very familiar with the hour requirements. So I'm sure if you have any questions, they can help you with that. And Georgia reminded me, if you have a few hours, you can definitely work on any professional development activities. So once you guys are in the UAB system, you guys have access to LinkedIn Learning, as well as the VISTA campus trainings. So you can use any of those trainings, any of those webinars to count towards your hours. Oh, thank you, Kiera. Monday is a holiday. I keep forgetting. Monday is a holiday, so your first time sheet will be on Tuesday. So your first time sheet will be on next Tuesday rather than the Monday that we originally sent out. My brain is a little off today. I keep forgetting that we have a holiday coming up on Monday. So if your site is closed that day, please use the national holiday category when you do submit your timesheet and put 8 hours so that we know that that is the reason that your site was, that you were not serving that day. If for any reason that your site is open on Memorial Day, you are also expected to serve. You are only taking federal holidays that your site is also taking. So if your site is open on Monday, and you are expected to serve on Monday unless they tell you otherwise. Are there any questions about that? It's not a speak now or forever hold your peace type of situation. So if you do have questions, please feel free to reach out to Georgia, Kiera, or myself. I know we went through this information kind of quickly, but once you get into the system and start using it, it becomes more straightforward and a lot easier to use. Other than that, that's all the information that I have. I know we do have quite a couple returning summer associates and members, so thank you for serving with us another summer. If you have any questions or anything like that, as always, feel free to reach out to us. Georgia, Kiera, and myself will stay on the line if anyone has any other questions that they want to ask that aren't in front of the whole group. Otherwise, I hope you guys are having a great first week of service, and we will check in with you soon.
Hey, Danielle.